Big news has now arrived on Gunners. You want to know all the details, so follow me until the end of the video. But first, if you are in love with Arsenal, show your love and subscribe to THE channel now and turn on notifications. Here we post daily news and behind the scenes of the biggest club in THE Premier League, Arsenal. Thank you. Arsenal given a wake-up call as Mikel Arteta begins to unlock £31.6 million midfield gem. Mikel Merino just reminded Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta, exactly what he's capable of. It's been a whirlwind week for the Spanish midfielder. From drawing criticism after Arsenal's tough outing at Anfield, to delivering a stunning hat-trick for Spain in a World Cup qualifier away to Turkey, Merino is making it harder and harder to ignore his growing influence. His performance for the national team offered a glimpse of something Arsenal fans haven't seen enough of: a confident, attacking midfielder with the ability to break into the box, find space, and finish, qualities that fully justify his £31.6 million price tag. Understated but crucial, Merino's role at Arsenal. Last season, Merino stepped up when Arsenal needed him most, filling in admirably as a central attacker when both Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus were sidelined. Now, with Havertz again unavailable and Jesus recovering, the Gunners are relying heavily on Victor Gyökeres to lead the line. But it's the midfield dynamic that's drawing attention. In the recent match against Liverpool, Arteta opted for a trio of Merino, Declan Rice, and Martin Zubimendi, a decision that raised eyebrows, especially with Martin Odegaard lacking full fitness and Eberechi Eze only recently arriving. The lineup was seen by many, fairly or not, as too conservative for such a high-stakes match. Arteta defended the selection post-match. "That's what we had," he said. "Martin was out, Kai couldn't play, and Merino is an incredible player in that area. We played with 3 attackers and 2 offensive fullbacks. After the game, it's too easy to point fingers. Flashes of brilliance. But what comes next?" To be fair, Merino didn't have his best game against Liverpool, aside from a smart setup for Noni Madueke on the right. But the contrast with his electric display for Spain couldn't be more stark. He looked like a different player, dangerous, confident, and free. So the big question now is, how can Arsenal get the best out of Merino? In Spain's system, which often operates without a traditional No.9, Merino has more freedom to move into dangerous areas. Playing alongside the likes of Nico Williams, Lamine Yamal, and former Real Sociedad teammate Mikel Oyarzabal, he's encouraged to make late runs into the box and take chances, like the ones he converted so ruthlessly against Turkey. At Arsenal, though, Arteta's system is more structured. Discipline, spacing, and control are prioritized. But that same system could be adjusted slightly to give Merino the freedom he thrives on, especially in games where unlocking tight defenses becomes a challenge. Fighting for minutes in a talent-stuffed squad. There's no denying that competition for places in Arsenal's squad is fierce. With the summer arrivals of Eze, Madueke, and Gyökeres, plus the emergence of Max Daumann, the attacking spots are limited. Merino will have to fight for every minute, and may not always be a starter. But that doesn't mean his role will be any less important. Between injuries, fixture congestion, and tactical flexibility, Merino is almost certain to get his chances. And if Arteta begins to trust him with a more attacking role, Merino could become one of Arsenal's most impactful and unexpected weapons this season. The Spanish midfielder has already proven he can perform on the biggest stages. The only question now is whether Arteta is ready to truly unleash him. A tactical puzzle, or an untapped solution. Mikel Arteta's tactical rigidity has been both praised and questioned in equal measure. While his system has delivered consistency, discipline, and top-level performances from his squad, there's growing discussion around whether it limits creative players like Merino, who, in a looser, more fluid setup, could thrive. Analysts have begun to note how Merino's instincts to drift into half spaces, link play, and arrive late in the box mirror some of the most dangerous midfielders in Europe. At Real Sociedad, he was a central figure in a system that allowed him to roam freely and contribute in every phase of play. For Spain, that role has only expanded. Merino is not just a supporting player, he's a game changer, said one Spanish football journalist after the Turkey match. He has the brain of a deep-lying playmaker and the hunger of a forward. That's rare. If Arteta is willing to give Merino more creative freedom, especially in matches where Arsenal struggle to break teams down, it could not only unlock the midfielder's full potential but also reduce the creative burden on Odegaard, who has at times seemed overworked when fit. Internal competition could bring out Merino's best. The reality is clear: Merino's place in the starting 11 isn't guaranteed. The additions of Ease and Majuk add dynamism, and Gyökeres provides the physical presence Arsenal have long lacked up front. Even Emile Smith-Rowe, when fit, could compete for minutes in the left interior role. But Merino's ability to play multiple midfield positions, combined with his height, strength, and tactical intelligence, gives him an edge that few others possess. That versatility could be crucial as Arsenal navigates a grueling season that includes Premier League, Champions League, and domestic cup fixtures. With rotation a necessity, Merino may well find himself starting some of Arsenal's biggest games, especially when physicality and aerial presence in midfield are required. Fan reaction and media spotlight. The Spanish media has already begun buzzing about Merino's rising international stock, with many questioning whether Arsenal fans, and even Arteta himself, fully appreciate the midfielder's quality. Meanwhile, Arsenal fans are starting to ask the same question. Social media was flooded with clips of Merino's Spain performance, with supporters praising his positioning, finishing, and composure under pressure. Some even began calling for him to start more regularly in North London. "We've got a world-class player sitting on the bench, why not use him properly?" one fan tweeted, echoing a sentiment that's starting to spread among the fan base. What happens next? As Arsenal looks to bounce back from recent criticism and tighten its grip on the title race, the spotlight will remain on Arteta's tactical decisions, and whether Merino is given the freedom and responsibility he's proven he can handle. There's a fine balance to strike. Arteta must manage egos, injuries, and expectations. But if there's one thing this past week has made clear, it's this. Mikel Merino isn't just a depth option. He's a difference maker. And as Arsenal aims to end their trophy drought and make a deep run in Europe, unlocking Merino's full potential could be the spark that sets everything in motion. The shocking Arsenal 11 Mikel Arteta could field against Port Vale, and still rest 11 key players. Arsenal might line up an almost unrecognizable team against Port Vale in the EFL Cup, and still manage to give many of their star players a well-deserved rest. This speaks volumes about the depth Mikel Arteta has built in his squad this summer. The Gunners went all out in the transfer window, breaking their own spending record as they reshaped the team into one of the strongest squads they've ever had. With loan signing Piero Hincapié set to have his £45 million purchase option triggered next summer, Arsenal's total potential investment in the squad for 2025 will exceed £300 million. For Arteta, this has been a dream window, giving him the tools to chase trophies on all fronts. Despite early season injury setbacks, Arsenal now have little excuse not to make deep runs in every competition they enter. Their first match outside the Premier League this season comes next week in Bilbao against Athletic Club in the Champions League. But the very next week, the Gunners face Port Vale away, a lower league opponent in the EFL Cup. Last season, Arsenal reached the semi-finals of this competition but fell short against Newcastle, who went on to win the trophy. That loss fueled doubts about Arteta's ability to get past that hurdle. However, with 8 new signings now integrated and a crop of promising youngsters stepping up, this season could tell a very different story. In fact, Arsenal could afford to rest most of their usual starting 11 at Vale Park and still field a competitive side. At goalkeeper, Kepa Arrizabalaga arrives to challenge David Raya, last season's Champions League winning goalkeeper and one of the Premier League's best for clean sheets. The defence could see Ben White, Christian Mosquera, Piero Hincapié, and Miles Lewis-Skelly start. With William Saliba still injured, Mosquera may already have had significant game time before this cup fixture, but he remains a solid option. In midfield, Christian Nørgaard, who missed the start of the season through injury, is hopeful to be fit again. Ahead of him, Eberechi Eze and Ethan Nwaneri could form an exciting attacking duo, bringing creativity and youthful energy. Up front, Max Daumann has impressed massively and may earn his first start of the season. He would pair with Leandro Trossard on the opposite flank. Trossard recently combined well with 15-year-old Nwaneri against Leeds, showcasing promising chemistry. Mikel Merino could lead the line, giving Victor Gyökeres a rest. After his recent hat-trick for Spain, Merino looks more than ready to take on this unconventional attacking role, proving he's capable of stepping up when called upon at 29 years old. Possible Arsenal lineup versus Port Vale. Kepa, White, Mosquera, Hincapié, Lewis-Skelly, Nørgaard, Eze, Nwaneri, Daumann, Merino, Trossard. This potential lineup against Port Vale highlights just how much Arsenal's squad has evolved under Arteta. The depth now allows the manager to rotate heavily without compromising quality, a luxury not often enjoyed by teams aiming for silverware on multiple fronts. Resting key players in cup competitions is a common tactic, but Arsenal's current strength means even their second string can pose a serious threat to lower league opposition. It also offers valuable game time for younger talents like Ethan Nwaneri, who is seen as one of the club's brightest prospects. Integrating such players early can pay dividends as the season progresses, particularly with the packed fixture schedule ahead. However, this approach is not without risks. Cup upsets are part of football's drama, and teams like Port Vale, playing with nothing to lose, can make these matches unexpectedly tough. For Arsenal, a loss here would sting, especially given the pressure on Arteta to deliver trophies this season. On the flip side, a convincing win with a rotated squad would send a strong message about the team's resilience and the success of the summer investment. It would also allow Arteta to keep his stars fresh and focused for upcoming Premier League and Champions League fixtures, both critical if Arsenal want to maintain a title challenge and advance deep in Europe. The broader narrative here is one of a club transitioning from a talented but thin squad to a well-rounded, battle-ready team. This squad depth, showcased by names like Marino stepping into new roles and youngsters like Nwaneri getting chances, reflects a clear plan: build a team that can compete across all competitions without burning out key players. Ultimately, how Arteta balances this will define Arsenal's season. Can he keep the momentum going, manage injuries effectively, and nurture emerging talent, all while pushing for trophies? The Port Vale match may seem minor on paper, but it's a glimpse into the tactical and managerial challenges that lie ahead.